As a special bonus, we're going to try, hopefully they will have enough Wi-Fi because they are on the road, to connect to Rabbi Izzy and Rabbi Mendy, who right now are on the road in their motorhome for Chabad of RARA. They are the Outback Rabbis who visit Jews in really remote and rural places that don't even have enough Jews to have a small community, so that no person is left out. So hopefully we'll be able to cross to their motorhome now, and they'll be able to tell us about their day-to-day and whether all of the people they come across have a connection to Judaism.
Hello, hi everybody. We're so excited here in the middle of rural Australia to join everybody to speak, but we want to mention something very, very powerful. We have a special story that we're going to share with everybody that's going to bring out something very special about the Jewish soul. Now it goes like this. I'm gonna say a very long story, but I'm gonna say it very, very shortly. Yesterday, we visited a lady, a very old lady who has a remarkable story that I want to quickly share with you. She was born in Austria. She was born and raised by her grandmother, who was a devout Catholic, and she was born to a supposed Catholic family. When she was brought up, she was about 16, 17 years old. She joined the resistance, and she helped Jewish people. She helped Jewish people escape the war. She helped them be smuggled over the border, and helped almost 100 Jewish people survive the war. Very, very remarkable. And she lived an amazing life. Obviously, I can't share her entire story right now, but she lived an amazing life, but it wasn't a Jewish life. She happened to marry 2 Jewish men throughout her life, and she ended up here in Australia, in a very remote town, not close to any Jewish community. Now, the RARA boys, us that travel in our mitzvah tank to all these different towns, we're doing our rounds, and it was actually Rabbi Yossi and his wife Malki who came across this lady, and they visited her. She actually called them to ask to see, she wanted to speak to a rabbi, which was quite odd because she had pretty much nothing in her life that was Jewish, besides for the fact that she happened to marry 2 Jewish husbands that didn't really follow their faith. Now, the story, I'm going to say it very, very shortly, it goes like this. It was Hanukkah, and Rabbi Yossi brought a menorah to light. As they're lighting the menorah, Rabbi Yossi starts to sing the famous song that we sing after the menorah, Ma'osur. And as they sing the song, they watch this old lady, who was a very, very tough lady, someone who lived through the war, somebody who wasn't easily brought to tears. And they watch this lady start to bawl. And Yossi turns to her and says, what's the matter? Tell us your story. Why did you call us? Why did you call rabbis? Well, you obviously have what to share. So this lady started to explain how her grandmother told her. Her grandmother told her that even though she was brought up Catholic, she was really Jewish. She was Jewish all along. And hearing this, she was 91 years old when she finally decided somehow or another to follow, to listen to that calling in her soul, that calling that says that she's Jewish. At 91 years old, she decides to start following a Jewish life. And she reached out to Rabbi Yossi and the RARA boys, and she started getting closer in touch with her Jewish soul.
Now, this woman, Tina, who now likes to go by her Jewish name, Esther, she wanted to have something which is the right and the privilege of every Jew, a Jewish burial. But living out there in Jindabyne, which is a pretty remote place, Jindabyne has no Jewish cemetery. It's far from any other Jewish cemetery. There was a problem which Rabbi Yossi Ruddle, Rabbi Feldman in Canberra had to deal with. Where would they be able to bury her when the time came? And so Rabbi Ruddle arranged with the council in Jindabyne the Jewish section for the Jindabyne War Memorial Cemetery, and they allocated enough space for 40 plots in the cemetery. And that was several years ago, and no one was actually able to go to Jindabyne in the interim to consecrate it to be able to be used as a Jewish cemetery. So this morning, with some help of, some local Jewish residents in Jindabyne, we finally built and consecrated the first Jewish cemetery in Jindabyne. We fenced a small area. According to halacha, there's a special way to fence it, and we blew the shofar. We said the special prayers, different chapters of Psalms, some chapters from the books of the writings, and we consecrated the first Jewish cemetery. And now Esther will have that right, that privilege to be able to die as a Jew, finally at peace.
Now, I want to bring out a very, very powerful point. I want to share with everybody what this tells us. Here you have the story of a lady, of Tina. Tina Esther is the name that she got at 91 years old. Here you have a soul that for 91 years lay dormant, a soul that was, you could say, sleeping. But unlike a body, if you don't feed it, if it's malnourished, eventually it will die. Now, a soul is very, very close to that, but with an ample difference. The difference between a soul and a body is that that soul could be malnourished, but it will never die. That soul will always be there, only for a time or moments in time that somebody will come along and reignite that soul, reignite that spark that will wake it up. And it could be at 5 years old, could be at 10, could be 20, could be at 91 years old, no matter what. And you see in her life, there was times, why did she join the resistance? Why did she help Jewish people? Why did she marry 2 Jewish husbands? 1 Jewish husband's tough enough. 2 Jewish husbands? It's remarkable. You see that the soul's always pressing to surface, always pressing to get to the surface and show itself. And eventually that spark will come out.
And that's something that on our travels, we've had the great privilege traveling up the coast for weeks on the road, going to all kinds of places whose names we can't always pronounce. Sometimes we hadn't heard of these places before. And it just reminds me of the story. About a week and a half ago, we met a guy living in a place called Milingandi, pretty far from, civilization perhaps. And since leaving England as a young teenager, he hadn't really had anything to do with his Judaism. And he sort of, if you will, forgot about it. His wife wasn't Jewish. And he lived there, Milingandi, just, minding his own business. And then one chilly night, we were in Eden, a little bit north of the Victorian border. And we see there's someone in a ute parked outside Coles. And as we were loading the shopping in our car, he's just looking at us. Now that look, and all the rabbis here probably know, that look that you get means one of 2 things. Either it says, I hate you and I want to kill you, or it says, I'm Jewish and I'd love to talk to you. And it was the I'm Jewish look. And this man tells us that he's Jewish. His father's a Holocaust survivor, and he's so glad we're in town. And he wants to introduce us to a friend of his, another Jew, this Jew who lives in Milingandi. And we went to Milingandi, we met this Jew, and he was going through a very rough time with the isolation of COVID, being away from his children. And, he was feeling very down. And after we spent the Shabbat with him, we spent several hours in him with his home, he'd really brightened up. And just the effect of just saying hello to someone, coming to meet someone, was a really powerful thing.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Izzy and Rabbi Mendel. we want to have you on here all night, but unfortunately we have the chief rabbi in South Africa waiting. So we're going to have to end it there, but we
Chief
definitely
Rabbi
will hear
Yaras?
from you again
Okay,
soon. So thank you for igniting the spark. And
bye.
just to clarify, that is not the mitzvah truck that the boys are in now, but I did see that they were driving today.